So, Verdict Day is soon to be shut down. How should From Software approach this? Well, I think they need to do a better job than they did whenever they killed 5. Because when 5 went down, all of the online stuff is just gone forever, basically, on that game. With Verdict Day, seeing how you can download the game and purchase it online and all this other jazz, and all the DLC and stuff is still there. Especially how, considering how all the bosses, special bosses for online stuff and everything, how that's just on the game itself, in the game files. What they need to do, if they're going to shut down the game, what From Software needs to do, is that they need to release an update patch whenever they shut the game down, so that most of this stuff isn't just lost forever. They need to make it to where you can play the bosses, the world bosses, in a pseudo mission-like state, where you can just go and select them and fight them whenever you want. Then that's what they need to do. They need to be able to let you keep all your DLC and stuff that you've already purchased, that you've already given them your money for. They need to be able to still be able to allow local, like, Xbox to Xbox level stuff to work. And, shit like that. They need to do stuff like that. And because at this point, it's basically like, archaeology. Data archaeology, anyway. There's so many emblems and teams and stuff that people have had and made over the years, and friends and people that aren't around anymore. Over 10 years, for me anyway. It's been 7 years about since I was finally able to come back to the game and log back into my team. Everyone, of course, is gone. It's just me. There's only like 3 people that are even online anymore, and I tried to message them, but it's been like 6 years, so I doubt that they never message back, so I doubt that that's gonna work out. What they should do is allow you to, keep a downloaded cached version of your team data on your console, and so you can at least go back and look at it. You need to be able to switch out your pilot data and stuff like that on your team data that you have, because that's where, when you blow up, that's where your ejected pilot versions are. You can switch between them in the game files, and people need to be able to, fumble around and actually be able to, fucking still be able to switch those around, and that's in your team data. When the game goes offline, that's just not going to be there no more. So they need to get on that if they do this. They need to divert at least like half a percentage of their damn wealth and manpower that they have now, which is a lot, to this. And if they do this correctly, then I will not be very upset. I'll still be angry that it's not available on any other platform, even though it's brought by Namco Bandai on those, and that there's no good goddamn reason it shouldn't be at least on another Xbox or PS4 or PC even now. I'll still be upset about it. But if they do this correctly and allow people to, they put out one little last update allowing people to be able to continue to, be able to play and see most of the features in offline mode, and be able to play the world bosses in offline mode, because there's a grace period where the game you can play just the bosses by themselves. You don't have to do the rest of the online bit during a server reset. because the war ends every few days or so, and I believe it would be very, very, very much so appropriate to enable that feature and just make it to where since offline now, you're not going to be able to be online anymore because they're killing the fucking server. You just be able to play whatever world boss whenever. I know people are going to say emulation and shit like that, but it still ain't perfect. It's still like a few years out before emulation becomes a real viable thing. You need to have like an S-tier level processor in your computer to be able to actually emulate Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day very well. They're terribly demanding as emulated titles. Never mind the legal jargon. I don't care about that kind of shit. That's what I believe that From Software should be doing. That's what they should invest in. I think it would make a lot of the old generation players happy, seeing how there is literally no other way to play the game outside of legally dubious emulating it. And From Software has the manpower, they have the wealth, and people are going to say, but the same people aren't there anymore. Well, I get that. But they have so much money. They have so much more money. You don't understand. From Software has changed a lot fundamentally as a game company over the last decade or so. And I think that contributes a lot to what they're doing now and how they're doing things. Not that I agree with it, but I understand why. And they have so much goddamn bank. They can make this happen. The same reason why I'm so upset about how people keep saying that the older generation of games is in licensing hell. Well, 5 and Verdict Day aren't, because Bandai Namco, that's what brought them. And Ubisoft is still around for, I don't know, probably another few more years. Even though they're slowly floundering because they're not able to make good shit anymore. Sega still exists, funnily enough, so you could be able to bring back Armored Core 4. Age Tech, however, has the weird Ace Combat problem where it's in licensing hell. Age Tech just doesn't exist anymore, and I would not know how they would port forward those titles. It's a very, very good question. Maybe the PSP ones. The PSP ones might be a loophole in there. They sold those for a long time. They sold those going into like 2008, 2009. That was around the time that AC4 was coming out. Yeah. I could figure it out. I could see how that could work. They could get around it if they really wanted it to. People just need to say something. Enough people just need to get up off their asses and say something. Make Twitter and Facebook posts. Make a YouTube video like my dumbass is doing. You know, say something. Because if nobody says anything and everyone forever holds their fucking peace, then there's nothing to be heard. No one is gonna know that there's demand there for it. Or care, in this case. From Software knows. But the people in charge of this kind of stuff now, they don't care. The only way to make them care is to say something. The only people there that do care about Armored Core are people who have been there forever and are not in the decision-making level of things anymore over there. So the only way to get the people who are making the big decisions over there to actually do anything about this is to say something. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying something. So, what From Software needs to do. They need to allow you to have a downloaded, they need to allow you to push out an update, allow you to keep your team, a little slice of your team data, for yourself. They need to make it to where Xbox to Xbox, PlayStation to PlayStation connection stuff that doesn't rely on the server just works fine without it being just tanked. It needs to just, if it doesn't rely on the server, then there's no reason to disable the feature. As long as the Xbox or PSN network exists, then those functions should just work. There's no reason to disable them. The world bosses need to be made available for play just whenever the hell. You just go over there and select whatever region in the special sortie and be able to click on them. It's already a function that's on the disc. It is literally something that happens during the grace period when the server world resets. So they just need to implement it as just a function whenever the game goes down, so that people can still be able to play the world bosses and be able to fuck around like that, and still be able to, have some fun in offline mode. All the DLC and stuff needs to be kept available for purchase for people who do want to buy the game and play the game, and the game should still be able to be kept downloadable and purchasable, even if the online function is not. Why? Simply because scalpers. We live in a modern age where scalping is almost not regulated anywhere, is run rampant, and anything that even becomes slightly possibly popular, the scalping people are fucking on top of that shit. Anything that goes on the normie radar is automatically usually getting fucked over like that. So they just need to keep it up on those networks for purchase and download, along with all the DLC content, because there's so much DLC content for Verdict Day. And I think that they need to bring back a lot of the stuff from 5, because they had a bunch of DLC content for 5 that just kind of disappeared. You can still download it if you purchased it in the past, like I did. I purchased quite a bit of it in the past, but unfortunately you can't just look it up on the Xbox or I think even PSN. You can't just download it. You have to have the game, and I think you had to have the game before they took that stuff down. I don't really know anymore, because I don't have 5 anymore, sadly. I lost my Armored Core collection whenever my life imploded on itself. But these are the things that they need to do. They need to keep the DLC for Verdict Day up, keep it purchasable and available for download on the original consoles, as long as those networks exist. There's no reason to pull it. They just need to divert 1% of their manpower to, not even that, a 0.5% of their manpower, just to push out this little update, do those little things that it will not cost them that, anything. It will cost them a drop in the bucket, if that, to do this. So there's no reason not to. So that's all they need to do, and you know what? I won't be as upset if they handle this properly. That's what From Software needs to do. This has been Ethan, and thanks for watching.